Well, good afternoon, floorball fans of the NAFL, and welcome to the second game in today's third week of NAFL play this 2024 season, live from the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center in Duluth, Minnesota. It's the Minnesota Growlers versus the Fresno Force in what's set to be a star-studded matchup between the two top teams currently in the playoff rankings. Heading into today, the Minnesota Growlers sat at second, the Fresno Force with a lead at 17 points. The Aviators coming away with a win earlier today kept them in fifth place. With a win today in regulation, the Minnesota Growlers can clinch a playoff berth. The Fresno Force, of course, the first team in the league to clinch a playoff berth coming out of the second week of play in Clarksville, Tennessee. Fresno currently coming into this matchup with the best record of any team in the league. Of course, they have only lost one matchup. That was to the Texas 39ers, who they were able to beat the second time around in Clarksville after a loss in Georgetown. But Minnesota coming out with that early goal. Lettanimi and Mothaler driving down the wing, and Minnesota strikes within 30 seconds. A beautiful play down the wing. It was a counterattack look. And it was Etu Lettanimi, who was on the close wing with a look behind Oscar Viking Schoenberg, able to put one away. 19:29 remaining in the first period. No longer a scoreless match. Your score, Minnesota Growlers 1, Fresno Force 0. Now down on the court for the Minnesota Growlers, it's number 72, Jonas Donskoy, making his debut for this Growler squad. There's been a lot of hype around him. Of course, he is a former NHL star player for the San Jose Sharks, Seattle Kraken as well. He's most known for a game-winning shot during the Stanley Cup Final Series, and now he's brought his talents here to Duluth to represent for this Minnesota squad. Fresno on the counter, off Kangas' steal, but Lettinen sending it straight back the other way. His pass deflected by Kangas again. It gets down to Matson. Matson across to Adrian Amdahl. Line substitutions here for both squads. It'll now be Billy Nilsson, number 73, with a pass behind himself. Kahlberg far side to Nyberg. Back down to Wille Kahlberg. Backed off by Rantala. He'll go far side to Nyberg. Cross court. Finds Nilsson, unable to field the pass at first look. He'll have to send it back down. Kahlberg back to Nilsson on the wing where he loves to be, looking to Mendoza inside the crease. He tried to chip it in himself, but it's taken by number 77, Pasi Arvinen. Both teams' goalkeepers are players to watch here in this matchup. Pasi Arvinen, especially for the Growlers in his second season for their squad. He is not just a lockdown defender, but he's also a phenomenal team leader. Billy Nilsson driving down. He's able to put one behind Pasi Arvinen. Billy the Kid with a quick response for the Fresno Force. And it was the pass behind Korhonen to Lane that was shipped away. Mendoza was able to get it to Neumann, who got it to Nilsson, sent it over Pasi Arvinen's top left shoulder from close range. Billy Nilsson, Billy the Kid, as some call him, shooting from the hip. And with that now, it is a tie ball game here. 17:50 remaining in the first period. Your score, Minnesota 1, Fresno Force 1. Now Matson at the point here for Fresno off the face-off recovery. Amdahl to Kangas, looking to Johansson. His shot saved by Pasi Arvinen. Arvinen staring down Johansson as he passes the ball off to captain J-Paul Roila. Mile Mothaler, Dal Roila, far side, working with Juuso Lettanimi. Roila looking from center, will pass back behind himself. Lettanimi down to his brother Etu Lettanimi. Shot from deep with too much spin, sailing wide left. Matson passes it off now to Nilsson. Nilsson close wing. He'll get the angle around Lettanimi. His shot goes off the body of Roila. Sending it down center to Kim Nyberg, facing a double team pincer. Emily Bjernen able to get there. The pass to Lettanimi just wide behind him. Neumann gets the angle, but Bjerninen with speed, able to chip it away. But that's going to draw a free hit here. It's going to be a ball for Fresno. Cross court, Nilsson. Back down, Willek Alberg to Kim Nyberg. Facing a little bit of pressure there from Donskoy. They'll rotate around and start pressuring Neumann. Gallberg in center with Nyberg. Far side, Neumann sailing wide, but Melvin Mendoza there for a recovery route. He'll send it around the boards down to Billy the Kid. Nilsson facing a sweep there from Lehtinen. Gets it back out to Gallberg. A lot of perimeter play right now for Fresno. Nyberg off the boards, finds Mendoza. At the top, it's Gallberg. Neumann was looking across. Hard to tell if that was a shot attempt or a pass. Either way, it's a Minnesota Growlers ball. Tita Salakangas working with Tuukka Hiltunen. Salakangas shot out the body of Neumann, who slid to try and stop that attempt. Kangas looking for Mendoza, the pass just wide. Mendoza against Salakangas there on the boards, gets pushed over. He doesn't seem to be too happy about that. It's going to be a Fresno ball. Johansson set to take it with Kangas. Kangas to Johansson. Looking at the point to Mattsson. He's got Sjostrom far side, instead he'll come back down to Kangas. Mattsson, slap shot with too much spin, sailing wide into the stick of Tita Salakangas. Looking across to Donskoy. Unable to get the shot off. Oscar Viking Scharnberg standing menacingly there in the corner. Donskoy again with a look, trying to get it across the crease to Korhonen. Adrian Amdahl facing pressure still from Tuukka Korhonen. Now Minnesota retreating. Third line coming to the court here for the Growlers. Johansson taking it on the far wing. Back out, Mattsson at the point, far side. Future coming up slightly. Rantala pressuring as well. Kangas in the center. They'll get it back out to Mattsson. Amdahl back to Mattsson. Fresno slowing down the pace of the match as we hit 5 minutes past so far in the first period. Both teams on the board, both teams even at 1-1 here, live from Duluth. Sjostrom, the pass far side. Unable to find Johansson, too much topspin on the ball. Mattsson now looking for a man. Go back down, Johansson driving to the center lane. Shot deflected off the body of Etu Vanjonpa. Kangas to Amdahl, far side, Mattsson. Amdahl in the center finds Billy Nilsson off the substitution. The pass close wing, Kangas goes back out to Willek Alberg as Kangas will come off. Alex Neumann back on the court. Billy Nilsson close side. He'll find Nyberg going behind the Minnesota goal. He was looking for Mendoza in the crease, but unable to field it. Tuukka Korhonen now facing pressure from Neumann, pushing him all the way back behind his own goal. He'll go off the boards to Yipao Roila. Neumann not giving up the pursuit yet, driving down, trying to find Mendoza again. He's still staying with it. Finally, that drive ends in a free hit for the Minnesota Growlers. Mile Marthaler, the pass to Roila. Mendoza creeping up. He'll come close wing to Marthaler. Behind himself, Roila to Bjerninen. Far side, Mendoza backing off a bit now with the Fresno defense. Now he'll start the pressure. Close wing, Juuso Lehtiniemi. Ball chipped away there by Gallberg. Looking across, goes far side to Mendoza. He'll send it back down to Neumann. Mendoza's pressure there on the defense, creating this offensive look now, forcing the quick pass that ended in an interception by Willek Alberg. Now Nyberg at the point, slowing things down, looking to make this a sustained offensive drive. In the center, Neumann. He's got Mendoza on the wing. Unable to get the angle around Juuso Lehtiniemi, but will maintain possession on the advantage play. Shipped away, sent behind himself. Advantage hadn't ended. It's going to be a free hit now for the Fresno Force in the far corner. Rasmus Johansson looking to waste no time. Sjostrom to Johansson at the point, Mattsson. Back to Johansson in traffic. That ball deflected off the legs of Julius Salakangas. Mattsson at the point. Referee Corinna Wenger calling out to the players, no holding, no holding. Cross-court pass, trying to find Kangas. Sails wide, Hiltunen pursuing it here for the Growlers. The ball chipped up and away, out of bounds. It's going to be a forced ball. Kangas to Johansson. Finds Mattsson. Donskoy releasing now, going back to half court. Far side, Sjostrom. Back out to Mattsson. Cross-court pass finds Kangas. And that shot attempt by Johansson sailing wide out of bounds. Part of that probably because Sturke Hiltunen got his stick on that cross-court ball and was able to give it just a little bit of unexpected bounce. Korhonen, cross-court, finds Vanjonpa. Marcus Line inside his own crease. Korhonen. Pausing, backing off here, Mendoza. Driving him closer and closer. He's now behind his own goal. Will come down to line. Facing pressure from Nilsson. He'll back off as well. This third line rotation here for the Minnesota Growlers doing a great job of maintaining time of possession here. Trying to break up the rhythm of Fresno, who's done a great job creating counterattack looks still. Neumann knowing that, trying to capitalize. Korhonen to the boards, taking some of them out. It's going to draw a free hit here for the Minnesota Growlers. Now Korhonen once again behind his own goal. He'll pass it off to Bjerninen as substitutions come out here for the Growlers. J-Paul Roila, close wing. He was looking for Bjerninen, steal by Nilsson. The pass to Neumann, saved by Pasi Arvinen. Saved a second time by Mendoza. Advantage there for the Growlers. J-Paul Roila pushing Melvin Mendoza away from his goalkeeper. Mothaler driving down behind the Fresno goal. Looking across, deflected by Neumann. Again by Mendoza off the out. Roila pass to Billy the Kid. His shot just wide left. The goal pushed over. It'll hit Pasi Arvinen in the back of the head there off the contact. Järvinen grabbing his shoulder as he rolls around, gets back up on his knees. He'll be okay, but he looks like he's going to take a little bit of a walk after that hit. It was Nilsson and now Roila behind the goal with so much contact. Forced it over on top of Pasi Järvinen, still in net. Now Minnesota getting reset, waiting for the go-ahead from Yanni Sjögren. With that, Tita Salakangas, the pass far side. Julius Salakangas. Go back to the point. Sjöström creeping closer. Far side, Julius Salakangas. He'll pass back instead of taking the run down the wing. Cross court finds Hiltunen. Sturke Hiltunen, the pass behind himself. Looking for a man, cross court, he finds Ilmari Lehtinen in double team, moving in traffic, able to get the ball down to Hiltunen. Hiltunen now with the sweep shot, saved by Oscar Viking Schoenberg. David Kangas with heavy pressure from Salakangas, losing the ball. Julius Salakangas, the shot just wide out of bounds. Both teams with beautiful offensive looks, and yet both teams still even here with just over 10 minutes remaining in the first period. This is going to be a phenomenal matchup to watch. Floorball fans. Kim Nyberg now inbounding for Fresno. He'll come to Wille Karlberg. All right, Nilsson, close side. Driving down on the wing, cross court, trying to find Neumann, but the ball sailing wide off the boards. It's still in bounds. Double team's going to draw a foul here off of Vanjonpa. Free hit. Mendoza to Neumann. Down to Nyberg. Cross court looking for Nilsson, deflected by Valtteri Rantala. Neumann unable to get there in time. At Vanjonpa driving down now for the Minnesota Growlers. Able to get the angle around Karlberg. Sweep shot deflected off the body of Neumann. Now Billy Nilsson looking down deep for Melvin Mendoza. Chipped away off the stick of Marcus Lane. It'll be a hit here for the Fresno Force. Mendoza to Neumann. Looking across. Billy Nilsson, so close of a shot. Minnesota Growlers hit in here in rapid succession. The pass to Mile Mothaler. J-Paul Roila in the crease. Mothaler now in the center lane. Far side. Juuso Lehtiniemi. The pass to Emily Bjerninen. Coming back around behind the Fresno goal. He'll pass to Lehtiniemi again. That ball chipped. Bjerninen able to get to it. Sent away by Johansson into the hands of Schoenberg. Looking deep. Sjöström. Shot just wide off the backboards. J-Paul Roila trying to get around Kangas. It'll be kicked away by Johansson. His shot goes wide as well, sailing out of bounds. It'll be a Johansson ball with Sjöström for Fresno. Both teams already getting quite heated in what very well could be a look ahead to the Troy Cup matchup Right now, Fresno, the #1 seed, the only team in the NAFL to have fully clinched a playoff berth. Minnesota, with a regulation win, would also do the same here against Fresno. These are two teams who have been high octane, but especially the Minnesota Growlers came into their own during our second week of play in Clarksville. They were a team who had played well, of course, to that point, but we saw their team take on a different level of focus when it came to that second week. We know that it was a conversation with team owner Juha Rovinen who helped lead to that, where he discussed with his team the reason why they're here and the glory of the Troy Cup that they're working towards. Matson, the pass down to Kangas. Fresno on the counter. Kangas will stop around half court and pass to Matson. Substitutions coming in here for both squads. Billy Nilsson looking to capitalize with space on the wing. Nilsson in the center looking to Mendoza. Mendoza able to stay with it off the boards. He finds Wille Karlberg, far side Nyberg. Johansson coming off the court. Neumann coming on. Donskoy coming up to meet Nyberg. Karlberg far side to Neumann. Wille Karlberg staying comfortably inside his own territory. Cross-court pass deflected off the stick of Ilmari Lehtinen. Gets to Tita Salakangas. Nyberg and Mendoza still pursuing it. Nyberg able to chip it away, but that just gives Tita Salakangas more of an angle in center court. Salakangas driving down, trying to get around Neumann. Facing a push from behind. It'll get out to Yipa Roila. Advantage granted there to the Growlers. Tuukka Hiltonen's ball deflected there by Billy Nilsson. Nyberg against Donskoy. And Nyberg sending it out. It's going to be a Minnesota Growlers hit in. Jonas Donskoy. He'll rotate off and allow Ilmari Lehtinen to take the ball. Donskoy creeping on the far side of the crease. Hiltonen to Lehtinen. Looking to Hiltonen, saved by Scharnberg. Neumann, far side. Salakangas able to get the angle before Karlberg. Support from Tita Salakangas, able to get around Mendoza. Now he's got wing. And a slow ball rolls to Adrian Amdahl. Donskoy giving one last bit of pressure before he comes off the court with a new rotation here. In for the Growlers. Billy Nilsson at half court. The pass back to Matson. Far side, Rasmus Johansson. Looking deep for Billy Nilsson. Deflected by Tuukka Hiltonen. It'll sail all the way back down to Sebastian Matson, number 14. 7.5 minutes remaining in the first period. And since that Fresno goal, it's been a scoring drought for both teams who have come out and played remarkably evenly in this first period. Sjostrom driving down deep, but unable to get the angle around Korhonen. Created just enough space for the Minnesota Growlers to capitalize, but it's chipped away by Matson. Moving in space, gets around Rantala. Sjostrom looking for Kangas in the crease, but it's kicked away. It's going to be awarded here to the Minnesota Growlers. It's going to be off of David Kangas going through the goalkeeper area. Mothaler with the hit to Roila. Heat ball Roila, far side to Juuso Lehtinen. Björninen in center, back to Roila. He's got Juuso Lehtinen spine deep. Is he going to look for that cross-court pass? No, instead he's going to try Mothaler. He found it to Lehtinen at the front of the crease, but he was unable to get the shot attempt off that ball out of bounds off the stick there of number 97, Wille Karlberg. Lehtinen to his brother, Juuso Lehtinen. Shot off the body of Neumann. Still chipped around to the backboards. Off an interference, it's going to be a free hit here for the Fresno Force. Wille Karlberg, number 97, and Kim Nyberg taking it here. Nyberg, of course, in his second season here with the Fresno Force. Wearing the captain's armband this season. He's a phenomenal defender for Fresno. And he's also a great team leader. He's helped cement this team chemistry, especially between returners on this squad, including him and Alex Neumann, to name a few. And a lot of the new talent who they brought in, including Billy Nilsson and Melvin Mendoza, who have made major waves here on this first line for Fresno. Billy Nilsson across to Neumann, finds Nyberg, far side off the deflection. Back to Neumann. A half spin and a pass back to Nyberg. No one in the center here for the Fresno Force offense. Less than 6 minutes remaining in the first. Neumann, pass deflected by Emily Björninen. Down to Yipa Roila. Clapping from all of the Minnesota Growlers after a successful shift defending against Fresno. The pass down to Lehtinen. Shot from the hip, saved by Scharnberg. Scharnberg with a little bit of shoulder contact between him and Jonas Donskoy. at the edge of the box. Mattsson far side, Johansson too much spin. Still finds Shellstrom looking for Kangas, but Pasi Järvinen able to get there first. Järvinen to Tita Salakangas. In the center lane, he'll pass far side to Julia Salakangas. Backing off a bit here. He'll look down deep off the boards. Lehtinen to Hiltunen. Back out Salakangas far side. Looking across, Tuukka Hiltunen unable to get the shot attempt off. We saw it the second week of play, especially in the last few games from Clarksville. Tuukka Hiltunen was a major producer on the first line with a lot of cross-court looks like that. That perfect 45-degree angle down tight towards the goal. Of course, Minnesota is a team who defines their offense by their passing system. Every line has a similar strategy when it comes to being defensive with the ball and waiting for a deep pass down to someone like Ilmari Lehtinen, then a cross-court for the scoring opportunity. That ball chipped over the goal there. Lane sends it away, but it just finds Johansson. Working with Amdahl on the close wing. Johansson waiting for an opportunity. He passes to David Kangas and rotates towards the crease. Amdahl shot from deep, deflected off the stick to Rantala in lane. Kangas to Amdahl. Back down to Kangas. Looking across to Shellstrom for the chip in. Unable to find it off the boards. It's still Fresno possession. Amdahl to Kangas. In the center, Pontus Shellstrom. His shot sailing wide right out of bounds. It's a hit in for the Minnesota Growlers. Just over 4 minutes remaining on the clock in the first period. Marcus Lane. He'll go. Tuukka Korhonen. Back down to Vanjonpa. Lane close side, edging closer towards middle court. He sends it down the boards to Korhonen. Heavy pursuit from Willik Ahlberg. Vanjonpa to Lane from deep, deflected off the body of Billy Nilsson. Sent in center, Valtteri Rantala. His shot deflected off the stick of Willik Ahlberg. It'll stay in bounds. Neumann going to be the first one there. Neumann trying to get the angle. Rantala unable to convert on a steal. Neumann's shot off the slap had too much spin. Rolled right into the hands of Pasi Järvinen. He'll pass it down to Tuukka Korhonen. Iipa Roila coming in here on a substitution. The pass goes far side to Juuso Lehtiniemi as Korhonen comes off. And Mile Mothaler coming on the court. Iipa Roila coming closer towards center lane. Bjernanen in center. Mendoza pressing once again. Bjernanen with the stare down to Mendoza as he passes back to Roila. Ball down deep. Eetu Lehtiniemi. Pass deflected by Amdahl. Chipped up by Nilsson. Amdahl gets it in center. Johansson. But Bjernanen on the recovery here for Minnesota. The spin pass behind himself finds his captain Roila. Down to Mile Mothaler. Back far side, Juuso Lehtiniemi. To Roila. Reserve goalie Eric Ullman yelling to his team, come on guys, let's go. Looking to gain some focus and momentum here in the last 2.5 minutes of the first period as both teams have been not stagnant against one another, but certainly deadlocked when it comes to the momentum game here. Juuso Lehtiniemi, cross-court pass deflected by Mattsson. Gets the ball out to Johansson. He's got Nilsson behind him. He'll spin around at half court and pass back to Mattsson at the point. Down to Amdahl, close wing. Johansson unable to get around Mile Mothaler. Off the boards. Here comes Roila once more. Another shift completed for the Minnesota Growlers. 2 minutes on the clock. We'll see if either team can use those precious seconds to try and gain an edge heading into the intermission here before the second period. And what has certainly already been a high-octane matchup between two of the best teams in the NAFL. Of course, both Fresno and Minnesota had been early favorites coming into the season to make the Troy Cup playoffs. But the Texas 39ers came out with an undefeated first week of play and put themselves on top of the playoff rankings. It took a 3-game losing streak by Texas to put the Fresno Force and Minnesota Growlers in heavy contention for first place. The spin by Salakangas, pass to Lehtinen. To Hiltunen, back to Lehtinen. That ball deflected. Minnesota unable to get the shot attempt off. Now it's Johansson driving down, saved by Pasi Järvinen. Tita Salakangas on the close wing. Off the boards, finds Donskoy. The spin around Mattsson. Donskoy's shot attempt is good. What a beautiful play. In his first match for the Minnesota Growlers, Jonas Donskoy coming up big. Tita Salakangas Sent the ball down deep. Donskoy with the spin and shoot, able to get it around both Amdahl and Oscar Viking Schoenberg. And now the Minnesota Growlers with the edge. 1 minute, 3 seconds remaining in the first period. Your score, Minnesota Growlers 2, Fresno Force 1. What a beautiful play that was. The hockey star turned floorballer for the Growlers, coming up in a major way for his team. Heading down now for the face-off, it'll be Letanimi against Neumann. Letanimi recovering it, the pass to his brother. Back to Juuso Letanimi, the chip in just wide. Emily Bierinen still with possession in Fresno territory. 1 minute left on the clock. Minnesota now, after that Donskoy goal, holding a lot of the momentum here. That chip pass around Mendoza gets back out to Yipao Roila. Bierinen down to Roila, back to Bierinen. Not a lot of movement here from this Minnesota team. Mendoza creeping up on him, trying to force something. 30 seconds left in the first period now. Bierinen far side. Where else but down to Yipao Roila. Off the backboards. History repeating itself. Not anymore as Bierinen now driving down, trying to get around Neumann. Nyberg gets it to Mendoza. Trying to find Nilsson far side. Letanimi sending the ball down deep, bouncing out of bounds. It'll be a Fresno hit in the last seconds of the first period. Billy Nilsson trying to field it. And a bad injury there. Billy Nilsson down on the court. Three seconds left, and we'll go to an injury intermission here. And the official call from referee Karina Wenger is going to be that the remaining 2.5 seconds in the first period are going to be added to the second period. Right now, still taking time and an irregular intermission to evaluate Billy Nilsson after he took a hard fall on the close side. He'll be evaluated by a trainer before we come back in for the second period of play between the Minnesota Growlers and the Fresno Force. We'll see you in just a few moments for that. Well, welcome back, Floorball fans. It's almost time to head back down to the court for the second period of play between the Minnesota Growlers and the Fresno Force. But first, we'd like to remind you about our sponsors. First of all, the Finnish Bistro. The Finnish Bistro is a beloved local gym offering a full-service coffee bar, authentic European cuisine, and a delightful bakery. Whether you're in the mood for a rich cup of coffee, a delectable pastry, or a hearty European meal, the Finnish Bistro has something to satisfy every palate. Located at 2264 Como Avenue in St. Paul, Minnesota, we invite you to explore the delicious offerings of the Finnish Bistro. And of course, our official clothing partner for the 2024 season is Kempa. If you like what our referees are wearing, then you like Kempa. And the official ruling on the court here after that Billy Nilsson injury was to run out those 2 seconds to officially end the first period. And now both teams will go to the second period. Billy Nilsson still being evaluated on site. He's now able to put some weight on that leg that was injured, but there's no expectation of him returning to today's matchup. We obviously wish him the best as he looks to recover and get a diagnosis for his injury. Of course, that's going to be a tough loss here for the Fresno Force, as Billy Nilsson, one of their key producers on their first line, a phenomenal forward, creates a lot of looks from the wing, shoots from the hip. And now as they're facing this Minnesota Growlers team who's more star-studded than ever, well, Fresno's going to need all the help they can get. Bjerrinen driving down, able to get the angle around Nyberg, but no one there to finish the pass. Kim Nyberg now for Fresno. The spin around Bjerrinen, but it's chipped away. Wille Karlberg there for recovery. Bjerrinen with a lot of speed there, pursuing him from behind. Karlberg will spin around, and finally Bjerrinen breaking off as his team makes substitutions. Karlberg passes it off to Sjöström. Sjöström will go to Mattsson in the crease. Back down to Sjöström. Fresno still facing a 1-goal deficit here against the Growlers after that beautiful Jonas Donskoy goal, spinning around Mattsson and driving towards the crease. Nearly a quick response there for Fresno as Kangas unable to convert on the shot attempt. Pass to Sjöström. Now it's Julius Salakangas inbounding here for the Minnesota first line. D to Salakangas, the pass behind himself to Hiltunen, who will take his role at the point. No one in the center yet for the Minnesota offense. Now Jonas Donskoy looking for the pass. Instead will go to Hiltunen. Ilmari Lehtinen unable to field the ball. It's chipped out of bounds by Adrian Amdahl. It's going to be a Minnesota Growlers hit in the far corner. Lehtinen and Hiltunen, both in their second year for the Minnesota Growlers team, as they look to live out their Troy Cup dreams. Tita Salakangas comes down to Julius Salakangas. We'll pass it off far side to Tuukka Hiltunen. Back to Salakangas. Tita Salakangas at the point. Looking down deep, finds Lehtinen, but it's chipped away by Amdahl. Lehtinen facing a 2-on-1, sends it back to the boards. Hiltunen to Donskoy to Lehtinen, saved there off the helmet of Schoenberg. Hiltunen back to Tita Salakangas. Donskoy with the screen on Mattsson. Off the boards, no one's there for support. It's David Kangas, but Donskoy chipping the ball away. His bench cheering for him as they look to make substitutions. Not a full switch yet as Tita Salakangas is still pushing offense there. Mattsson sending the ball out of bounds. It'll be ruled out on Salakangas. And a quick break there to reset the goal in Fresno territory. Referee Vince Fossa, who's off for this match, still coming out to assist. Now Fresno with the ball. Wille Karlberg to Kim Nyberg. He's got Mendoza on the close wing, Neumann on the far. Go back out to Karlberg at the point. Down to Mendoza. Tom Fuchter spying the lane, able to get it to Valtteri Rantala. And the bench goes wild as Minnesota, the first team to strike in the second period. It was Tom Fuchter spying that passing lane on the close wing between Nyberg and Mendoza. He was just waiting for the strike. He saw the pass coming just an instant before. And the quick pass to Valtteri Rantala on the counterattack was an easy goal. And off of the Valtteri Radela goal, Minnesota extending their lead. Your score was 17-23 remaining in the second period. It's now Minnesota Growlers 3, Fresno Force 1. Recovery on the face-off by the Fresno Force. Matson at the point, goes far side to Amdahl. Etuletanimi spying him from behind with support from Mothaler, forcing Amdahl deeper in his own territory. Matson trying to find Kangas on the side. The pass with just a little bit too much oomph. Minnesota Growlers hit in. Auroila to Marthaler. Back to Auroila. He's got Letanimi close side. Bjernanen switching off with Letanimi. Kangas coming from behind there against Auroila. Fresno retreating back a little bit now. Auroila to Mile Marthaler. Kangas again coming on the backside there of Auroila. Bjernanen now cycling to the point. We'll have Auroila on the close wing. Switching back out, Auroila in center lane. Minnesota picking up the pace a bit. Bjernanen now in Fresno territory. The pass far side to Mile Marthaler. Back to Bjernanen. Letanimi to his brother, Juuso Letanimi. Looking down deep from Marthaler. Chipped away by Matson. Johansson sends the ball away. Jeppe Auroila drawing the adulation of his bench there as he's able to send the ball away and stop a Fresno Force offensive. Ball down the boards to Donskoy. He's got Lehtinen for support. Hiltonen, shot saved by Schoenberg. Castellanos gets it down to Karlberg. Now Kim Nyberg facing pursuit from behind by Donskoy. Lehtinen pushing it towards Schoenberg, who's able to grab the ball. Karlberg to Nyberg is now Donskoy and Lehtinen retreating to half court. Mendoza in center, Neumann going back behind is a safety route. Instead will come to Karlberg. He's got a little bit of space on the wing. Off the boards, Mendoza looking across. An own goal, I believe. We'll have to see the replay. Either way, Fresno putting one down. What a shot. Came across the center of the crease. It was Willie Karlberg who had been given a little bit of space after Donskoy had released from the zone. It was the pass across by Melvin Mendoza. He was intending for Neumann, but it went off the stick there, it looked like, of Tuukka Hiltonen. Regardless, Mendoza there, able to score, and now with 15 and a half minutes remaining in the second period, it's now a one-goal game. Your score, Minnesota 3, Fresno Force 2. And now the pass to Kangas. They'll go back down to Amdahl. Now Matson close side. Shellstrom sending it down the line to Johansson. Vanjonpa able to get his stick in there and get some contact on the ball. Shellstrom missing it. Fuchter, smooth moves, not smooth enough for Sebastian Matson. That ball deflected off the body of Vanjonpa. It gets out to Korhonen. Far side, he'll pass behind himself. Marcus Lane comes down to Vanjonpa. He'll hand it off to Bjernanen as his line comes off. Juuso Lehtinen facing some pressure from Castellanos. Auroila spin around to create some space. Just over 5 minutes have passed here in the second period. Minnesota still with a one-goal lead. Bjernanen comes down. Auroila far side. Marthaler back to Auroila. Castellanos again aggressive on the press here. Trailing him from behind in the center. Etuletanimi to Bjernanen. A familiar matchup there for the second year. Bjernanen on Neumann. Driving around off the boards will find Mile Marthaler. Auroila shot deflected there off the stick of Mendoza. Looking deep. Neumann still with possession. Unable to get the shot attempt off. Alex Neumann. The pass down to Wille Karlberg. Nyberg in center. His shot saved by Pasi Järvinen. Falling on it off the rebound attempt by Castellanos. He'll pass it down to Bjernanen while Fresno not focusing. Jeppe Auroila holding the ball. He'll pass it off to Julius Salakangas. Salakangas looking down deep. Finds Lehtinen. Shot sailing wide of the goal. Bouncing out of bounds. It'll be a Minnesota Growlers hit in. Sebastian Matson set to take it. He'll call Amdahl into motion towards the front of the box. Back down to Matson. A look across. Johansson on the wing. The spin and pass back to Matson. Donskoy adding pressure here on the wing. Back down to Johansson again. Now the pass to Shilstrom, looking back to Johansson. He'll try and field it as Salakangas goes to the ground. Free hit's going to be awarded here to the Fresno Force after the reach-around attempt. Brief time taken to reset the boards. Now it'll be Kangas and Johansson. Johansson passes down to Amdahl, down to Matson. Back to Kangas, off the boards. A lot of power, still able to field it. Matson behind himself to Amdahl, down to Johansson. Slap shot saved by Pasi Arvinen. With enough contact there from Tita Salakangas, Matson was unable to get the shot off as Arvinen had been overextended. It was a close call there for the Minnesota Growlers, as Fresno could have had an equalizing goal. The ball to be taken here from the corner. It'll be Tuukka Korhonen with Marcus Lane. Crossed Etu Vanjonpa. Lane with a lot of space. Down the line, Rantala sending it behind himself, but Tuukka Korhonen was farther than he expected. Still, they'll draw the foul. Minnesota ball. Marcus Lane sends it down to Valtteri Rantala. Trying to create some space between him and Karlberg. He'll pass back down to Lane. He's got Korhonen. Instead, he goes to Rantala on the wing. The shot off the hand of Schoenberg. A rebound by Fuchter on a close call. Looks like it may have hit the hand of Oscar Viking Schoenberg. Now the pass down to Neumann. Nyberg back to Neumann. He'll go deep. Karlberg gets around Korhonen, but in 3-on-1 traffic, there's not much he could do against the lockdown Growlers defense. Neumann to Castellanos, the ball chipped to the corner, still able to maintain possession here. 12 minutes remaining in the second period. Pass intended for Nyberg. Tom Fuchter taking it. Chipped away by Neumann. Both teams getting a little bit more antsy, a little more aggressive here. The game remaining close between the number 1 and number 2 seed currently in the NAFL playoff standings. Pass to Juuso Lehtiniemi to Mile Marthaler. Back to Lehtiniemi, down to Bjerninen. He'll go far side to Marthaler, back to Lehtiniemi, down to Auroila, now with space on the wing. He's going to pinch in, cross-court pass, looking for Bjerninen, deflected off the force. It's going to roll out of bounds and be a Minnesota Growlers hit it. This is exactly the kind of passing that Minnesota loves, and anytime they're able to get this system going of cross-court passing and shot attempts, it's always dangerous for any defense in the NAFL. Etu Lehtiniemi set to take it with Emily Bjerninen on another hit in for the Growlers. Bjerninen behind the Fresno goal. Matson coming out to meet him. A little bit of shoulder contact, but he's still able to pass down to Mile Marthaler. Auroila now at the point as Marthaler rotates to center. Bjerninen close wing. Shilstrom pursued from behind. He'll force the pass back down to Auroila. Marthaler, Bjerninen back to Auroila. He's got Lehtiniemi far side. Instead, he'll choose the embattled Marthaler. Now Bjerninen looking across, shipped away by Amdahl. Now Rasmus Johansson, the pass to Shellstrom. He'll send it behind himself to Sebastian Matson. Johansson on the wing. He'll have a cross-court look. He was intending for Amdahl, but Kangas took it anyways, deflating the offensive opportunity there. Bjerninen rolls it over to Auroila. They'll wait as Julius Salakangas comes onto the court here with the first line for the Minnesota Growlers. Tita Salakangas now far side. Edging towards the center, he passes Hiltunen. Ball rolling all the way to Ilmari Lehtinen. Behind the Fresno goal, he'll have Donskoi for support. Back out, Salakangas. Lehtinen in the center to Hiltunen. Back to Salakangas, back to Hiltunen. Saved by Schoenberg off his thigh. Kim Nyberg now for Fresno. 10 minutes remaining in the second period means we're officially now in the back half of this matchup. Wille Karlberg behind himself to Nyberg. Ilmari Lehtinen pressing up a little bit closer here. He'll find Karlberg, but he's unable to field it. Ilmari Lehtinen on the far side. Shot attempt sailing high out of bounds. It'll be a Fresno ball. A dangerous look there as Fresno had no person on the far wing who could have come up from behind to try and defend against Ilmari Lehtinen. Amdahl went with the pass to Matson. Comes down. Rasmus Johansson. Back out to Matson. Far side, Amdahl. Fresno's men cycling now in Minnesota territory. They have a lot of faith in their passing to get down onto the Growlers side of the court. Sebastian Madsen looking for a man to pass to, a fine Pontus Sjöström. Able to get the angle around out to Vanjonpa. Will have to spin around, however. Will pass back out. Madsen at the point, far side. Goes to Amdahl. He's got Kangas down on the wing. Cross court. Sjöström. Shot saved by Pasi Arvinen. But now Fresno trying to create another opportunity. Rasmus Johansson off the boards finds Madsen. The spin around behind himself, far side. Amdahl down to Kangas again. Heavier pursuit, however, this time from Tuukka Korhonen. Out to Madsen at the top. Pasi Arvinen chanting out to his teammates from the crease, trying to motivate them as Fresno turning up the pressure and gaining momentum here in the back half of the second period. Madsen backing off here, off pressure from Fuchter. Far side, Amdahl driving in, trying to draw Pasi Arvinen out, but he's just going to kick the ball away. Marcus Lane now looking to reset this Growlers offense as he passes off to Emily Viernen. A lot of back and forth here between these teams. Not a lot of offensive traction, however. Fresno actually currently outpacing the Minnesota Growlers in terms of shots on goal, 14-10. However, Pasi Arvinen has been a lockdown, as well as the Minnesota field players today. Given the fact that Minnesota is a team who operates off a system and Fresno operates off of counterattacks like the one we're seeing right here in transition play, it's a matter of who's going to defend with the ball and who's going to defend without. Viernen shot fallen on there by Alex Neumann. The second time he's made a slide to make a save. Wille Karlberg now. He'll come to Nyberg, close wing. Far side, Neumann with a little bit of lead. Looking deep to Mendoza, but it sails over his head. Time going to be taken here to mop off the court in front of the Minnesota goal. And after that, it's going to be Julius Salakangas coming to the close corner to inbound here for the Minnesota Growlers. Pasi Arvinen coming back onto the court after using that as an opportunity to cool off a little bit. Fresno has not been making his life easy so far this matchup. But now Minnesota looking to do the same to Oscar Viking Scharnberg. Lettinen losing a little bit of control. The ball chipped out. It gets to Melvin Mendoza, number 24, driving down for Fresno. He'll spin around, look for a man to pass to. Looking across to Jonas Castellanos. Castellanos is Nilsson's replacement. Doesn't have necessarily all of the passing chemistry that he and Melvin Mendoza have developed this season. Tita Salakangas looking deep to Lettinen. The chip in just wide. Kim Nyberg now on recovery for Fresno. Lettinen coming from behind. Wille Karlberg with a lot of room to pass down to Melvin Mendoza in Minnesota territory. The spin to try and get around Salakangas, unsuccessful. Chipped up by Karlberg. Fresno still with possession in a battle on the boards. Karlberg in space, unable to get the shot off, but the pass to Mendoza rolls in off the arm of Pasi Arvinen. An equalizing goal by Mendoza. And it was a double fade there with Karlberg and Mendoza. With a hope and a prayer, Mendoza connected immediately with the ball as it came to him. Quicker perhaps than Pasi Arvinen was expecting, and it rebounded off of his left shoulder into the net. Now with 6 minutes, 50 seconds remaining, your score is all tied up here live from the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center in Duluth, Minnesota. It's Minnesota Growlers 3, Fresno Force 3. Johansson in the center. Shot goes off the body of Vanjonpa. Valtteri Rantala unable to get around David Kangas and Adrian Amdahl to continue the possession there for the Growlers. Now Sjöström driving in. Saved by Pasi Arvinen. Vanjonpa trying to send it to the boards to get it away from the Force. He's going to draw a foul. It'll be a Minnesota Growlers ball. Minnesota, despite giving up those goals to Fresno, seems to be heating up their momentum. They know the importance now the rest of this period as they look to regain an edge here against a high-octane Fresno team that has been punishing defenses all season whenever they're just a second slow on the transition or whenever they're not looking, especially for Melvin Mendoza. Johansson, far side, facing pressure from Bjerreinen. He'll go between his legs to Kim Nyberg, close wing. Bjerreinen still operating as the up man here for the Minnesota defense. He'll back off now and even up with Etelätanimi. Nyberg goes to Neumann, leading him a little bit, sending him on a run. The pass behind himself to Samuel Linda. It's kicked away. He'll draw a foul. It'll be a free hit here for the Fresno Force. Neumann set to take it in front of the goal. To Mendoza, saved by Pasi Arvinen. Another close call. Member of the Philippines national team, Melvin Mendoza has come up in a major way this season for the Fresno Force. One of the biggest names they added over the offseason, and certainly big when it comes to the contributions he's made to the squad. Doing exactly what he's doing here, pressing against offenses in their own territory. It doesn't matter whether or not he creates the turnover. The key is he plays the mental game and denies superiority of passing in his opponent's territory. Neumann kicking the ball out. Unable to find Nyberg. Lehtinen with the angle and the shot saved by Oscar Viking Jarnberg. Lehtinen kicking it out, looking for another opportunity. Hiltonen passed to Donskoy just a few inches wide. Jonas Donskoy, the pass to Lehtinen. Forced to the boards there by Willek Ahlberg. A tight battle for possession. Lehtinen coming away with an advantage granted there. It's going to be a free hit for the Minnesota Growlers as we enter the last 5 minutes of the second period. Jonas Donskoy of San Jose Sharks fame taking the hit here for the Growlers. He'll pass behind the goal. Ilmari Lehtinen looking to Hiltonen, boxed out by Neumann. Now Mendoza pausing. He has lead from Linda and Neumann. Instead will go behind himself to Nyberg and look to make this more of a concerted offensive effort. Substitutions coming out here for the Minnesota Growlers and for the Fresno Force. The pass off to Sebastian Mattsson. Johansson back to Mattsson. He'll go far side to Adrian Amdahl. Back to Mattsson. No pursuit here from the Growlers as he loses some control. Adrian Amdahl on the far wing again. Fresno slowing down the pace a little bit here, but now he'll go deep to David Kangas. It's him on Sala Kangas. And what a turn of events there. Right as Karina Wenger had blown the whistle for a free hit for Fresno. David Kangas chipped it in around. It's a no-goal call, but you can see her hold her heads, knowing what that meant to Fresno. Off the out of bounds, it'll be a Fresno Force hit in. Kangas to Johansson. To Amdahl at the point. Johansson backing off more, chipped off the leg there of Tuukka Korhonen. Johansson down to Amdahl. Mattsson cycling around to the point. He'll have Amdahl on the wing. Amdahl in center to Shellstrom. Shot wide right out of bounds. It's going to be a Minnesota Growlers hit in. 3:45 left on the clock in the second period. Yipa Roila set to take it from the far corner. He'll take it slow in front of the box. That's Animi. Tao Roila, far side to Marthaler. He'll draw Mendoza in, but he's going to release just as quickly go to Tao Roila. With 3.5 minutes left in the second period, Minnesota needs this time to try and regain some of the momentum that Fresno's capitalized on, come up with an answer to their goals. Both Neumann and Marthaler go into the court there. It's going to be called a foul. They're going to take quick time to wipe down this corner of the crease. And that's manager of the Minnesota Growlers squad, Ryan Johnson, getting down there, using the elbow grease and doing the hard work here. As we get set to resume, it's Kim Nyberg with the ball for the Force. He'll pass to Willek Ahlberg. Back to Nyberg. A little bit of pressure here from Bjerreinen, but he'll stop at three-quarters court. Neumann, far side. Back to Nyberg. Ball sent down deep, finds Mendoza at the line. Back to Nyberg. Mendoza now coming in center lane. The pass to Willek Ahlberg at the goal line. Nyberg. Back to Ahlberg. Things speeding up here for Fresno. But now Bjerreinen on the pursuit of Nyberg in his own territory. The pass going wide. Etelätanimi able to get a stick on the ball. Alex Neumann gets the angle around Lehtinen. Around Marthaler. Driving down. A missed Zorro and a missed Michigan, and now the ball in Minnesota hands again. 2.5 minutes remaining. Sent behind, Alroila passes it to Mile Marthaler behind his own goal. First line's coming out here. First line for Minnesota, second for Fresno. Julius Alakangas taking the ball here on the close wing. Titus Alakangas now in the center. Kangas going to come up and release, trying to block that passing lane. Hiltonen. What a beautiful close call there. Tried chipping it to himself on a rebound, but it sailed just wide right. Now it's Fresno with an opportunity. Stolen by Titus Alakangas. Far side, Lehtinen. Cross court, Julius Alakangas losing control of the ball on the sweep. Johansson unable to grab it from behind. The pass gets back out. Titus Alakangas at the goal line. Deflected off the body there of Adrian Amdahl. It gets out to Scharnberg. Scharnberg, the pass down to Shellstrom in Minnesota territory. He needs a man to pass to. He'll find Johansson behind himself. Cross court looking for Kangas. Deflected by Salakangas. Johansson gets it out to Shellstrom again. He'll try and angle around Salakangas. The Michigan attempt unsuccessful, but Johansson with a shot. The whistle going to be blown before he can take it. It's going to be a Minnesota Growlers free hit with 1.5 minutes remaining in the second period. Alroila getting set to take it in front of the crease here. He'll pass down the line. Bjernanen in center, far side. Marthaler back to Alroila. Deep pass finds Etuletanimi, losing some control in the sweep. He'll have to pass behind himself. Finds Bjernanen down to Alroila. In the center, Marthaler down to Etuletanimi. Back out to Alroila. Backing off a bit here. Pass behind himself to Bjernanen. Less than a minute remaining in the second period. Still a tie ball game here live from Duluth. Growlers 3, Force 3. Alroila taking his time. Castellanos with some pressure. Deep pass to Letanimi. Trying to find his brother, Juuso Letanimi. Chipped away there. Attempting to find Letanimi. The ball deflected there by Nyberg against Scharnberg. Mendoza, close wing for Fresno. Looking for a man to pass to. He'll take the shot himself. It's saved by Pasijärvinen. He'll hold the ball up in celebration and roll it behind himself to his captain, Jeep Alroila. Castellanos camping on the far side of the goal. Pass in center, Hiltonen, Salakangas. Backing off here, he'll come out to the point. 15 seconds. What can Minnesota do with them? Salakangas, close wing, Growlers looking for a last shot opportunity. Hiltonen boxed out by Karlberg, time about to expire. Mendoza grabs it as we reach the end of the second period. What a period of play that was, floorball fans. Fresno still able to come out and equalize against the Growlers, both teams with some traction, but especially Fresno after that Billy Nilsson injury at the end of the first period. We're going to be back in just over 10 minutes with what's set to be a phenomenal conclusion to this currently tied matchup between the number 1 and 2 seed, Minnesota Growlers 3, Fresno Force 3. Welcome back, Floorball fans. It's almost time for the third period of play here between the Fresno Force and the Minnesota Growlers. But first, we'd like to remind you about our sponsors. First of all, the Finnish Bistro. The Finnish Bistro is a beloved local gym offering a full-service coffee bar, authentic European cuisine, and a delightful bakery. Whether you're in the mood for a rich cup of coffee, a delectable pastry, or a hearty European meal, the Finnish Bistro has something to satisfy every palate. Located at 2264 Como Avenue in St. Paul, Minnesota, we invite you to explore the delicious offerings at the Finnish Bistro. And of course, our official clothing partner for the 2024 NAFL season is Kempa. If you like what our referees are wearing, then you like Kempa. And our official floorball partnership for the 2024 NAFL season with Fat Pint, bringing you the latest in floorball technology in beautiful Swiss media yellow. Every floorball you see on an NAFL court this season is Fat Pint. And floorball fans, if you're curious about the statistics to this or any other NAFL game, past, present, or future, you can always go online to sportninja.com or download the Sport Ninja app from the App Store. Now Fresno holding the ball here to start out the third period. It's a tie ball game heading into the third, 3-3 Minnesota-Fresno between the two top teams in the NAFL. If Minnesota comes away with a win in regulation today, they will clinch a playoff spot. Fresno already has clinched one. They are the first team in the league to do so. Currently on top after a big win against the Texas 39ers, who had previously been the reigning playoff leaders during our second week of play in Clarksville, Tennessee. Fresno currently dealing with the loss of one of their front men, Billy Nilsson, due to an injury earlier this match. He is still on site, sitting on the bench watching his team, but he's been replaced on the line by Jonas Castellanos, who is in his second season here for the Fresno Force. Mendoza, close wing. Backed off there by Mothaler. Ball chipped up. It'll find Etchelettanimi. Off the boards, it rolls back down to Mile Mothaler. He'll hand it off to Tita Salakangas. His new lines in here for both squads. First for Minnesota, second for Fresno. Amdahl sends the ball back down wide. Matson to Johansson. Far side, Sjostrom. Across to Kangas from the center lane. It's good! Fresno coming away with the lead early here in the third period. From the center look, Kangas able to convert. It was a quick play from the far side when Matson sent the ball down. Found Kangas in the center. And it was an unintentional screen there by Minnesota, blocking Pasi Arvinen's view on the David Kangas goal. Now, with just over 18 minutes remaining, Fresno taking the lead. Your score, Growlers 3, Force 4. Fresno regaining even more momentum here, pushing into the third period. With a win today, they would put themselves steadily on top of the playoff rankings as they look to be the first seed heading into the Troy Cup playoffs this weekend, with our two semifinal games this Saturday and the Troy Cup final being played this Sunday. Kangas gets the ball to Johansson. Matson at the point finds Amdahl, close wing. Across to Johansson. Back to Amdahl. Matson at the point. Down to Amdahl on the wing, looking for an opportunity. He'll go to Kangas instead, as Fresno not letting up the pressure. Matson with a pump fake. Kangas into Amdahl, saved by Pasi Arvinen. He'll roll it down to Marcus Lane, who will pass it off to Yepao Roila, his second line, back on the court. Goalie Pasi Arvinen encouraging the rest of his teammates in finish once more. Of course, most of this talent for the Minnesota team for the last two seasons has been dominated by Finnish players. That contributes a lot to this pass-heavy style of play that they prefer. Meanwhile, a lot more Swedish talent coming in here on this Fresno Force squad. Yepao Roila still holding on to the ball. He'll finally go far side. Emily Bjernanen looking for an opportunity. Now Roila, close side, sends the ball down. It'll find Etchelettanimi, trying to get an angle around Wille Karlberg. Comes to Castellanos, it'll be called back. It'll be a free hit here for the Minnesota Growlers. Of course, the last time these teams met up in a playoff setting was the Troy Cup semifinal last season, live from NYTEX Sports Center in North Richland Hills, Texas. there. It was a goal with 7 seconds left for a go-ahead that took the score to 5-4 Fresno and sent them to the Troy Cup final where they would lose to the Florida Vikings. So both of these teams were very, very close to the Troy Cup last season. And they obviously want to come out with a statement here in what could be a final matchup this season. Nyberg sends the ball behind himself. Willie Kahlberg taking a pause here. His team will make substitutions. As Adrian Amdahl comes on the court, he'll take it from Kahlberg. Amdahl, back to Madsen. Working with Johansson. Far side, Shellstrom. Shellstrom again on the wing. Back to Madsen. Amdahl, close side. He'll go down to Kangas. Heavy pressure from behind by Dita Salakangas. It's going to draw a free hit here for Fresno. Fresno now with an opportunity to create another sustained offensive drive here against the Growlers in their own territory as they look to extend their lead here. Kangas shot saved by Järvinen, comes down to the close boards. Shellstrom is able to get it to Johansson, but taken by Tita Salakangas. Ilmari Lehtinen losing the ball behind himself. Amdahl trying to get there, taken away now by Donskoy. Jonas Donskoy looking for a pass to Salakangas, chipped away by David Kangas. The two of them still battling down deep in Minnesota territory. Now Julius Salakangas, close side. They'll take a pause, third line coming out here for the Minnesota Growlers. Shot by Rantala, sailing out of bounds. It'll be a Fresno force hit in. Just over 5 minutes have passed so far in the third period. Fresno, the only team to score in the third. Neumann taking the ball here for Fresno. Kim Nyberg towards the close wing. Back to Neumann, down the line, finds Mendoza. Mendoza coming around behind the goal, looking for a man to pass to. He'll go off the boards, finds Nyberg, far side, Neumann. He's got Castellanos in center. Now Mendoza coming into the center as Neumann still looking for a man to pass to. Valtteri Rantala starting to press up a little bit more. Mendoza now on the close wing to Nyberg. Far side, Neumann. Fresno doing a great job of defending with the ball here. Of course, floorball is a fast-paced, high-energy sport where absolutely anything can happen. This still very much so could be Minnesota's game, especially when we consider what a contending team this is. After their second week of play in Clarksville, Tennessee, they've shown their grit and determination. Neumann just barely able to save that scoring opportunity, literally backed up onto his heels as he tried to do it. Fresno not happy about that shift. It's going to be a Minnesota ball here on the close wing. Yipa Roila set to take it here. They'll go Letanimi. Mathaler in motion in the center. Deflected there by Kangas. He'll find Shellstrom on the breakaway. Saved by Pasi Järvinen. It'll roll out of bounds and still be a Fresno ball, but a hit in is better than a goal. Kangas to Shellstrom. Back to Kangas. Down to Amdahl. Back to Kangas. Cross court. Finds Johansson. Into Kangas. It's good! Another down the middle goal for David Kangas. Arguably even bigger now as Fresno's able to extend their lead to 2 over the Minnesota Growlers. Kangas with the pass across, he came back into motion, and once again the exact same spot. He got one around Pasi Järvinen before, able to connect again. Off the back of that Kangas goal. 13:39 remaining in the third period. Fresno extending their lead further. It's now Minnesota 3, Fresno 5. Heading down will be Salakangas on Neumann for the faceoff. Recovery by Fresno on the faceoff. Kahlberg was able to draw Donskoy down and get the angle. But he has no one there for support. He'll have to pass back down to Nyberg. Neumann Calling him to go down. Castellanos losing control. Chipped out of bounds there by Salakangas. That's going to be a penalty call there as Jonas Castellanos goes to the ground. What a critical penalty that is this late in the game, as Fresno has already been gaining so much momentum. Captain Yip Alroila discussing with the referee, Karina Wenger. Tita Salakangas, number 92, going to come out to the penalty box here for the Minnesota team. That's going to put Fresno in power play here and give them an opportunity to extend their lead to 3 goals. This will be a critical time here for the Minnesota Growlers as they try to hang on, survive the penalty, and come back to win this match. Nyberg to Neumann, close side. He's got Kahlberg in center, Mendoza creeping down towards the back boards. Johansson in motion on far side, but Neumann still keeping it on the close wing, but edging closer to the crease. Now off the boards, Neumann backed off a bit here. Very tight defense so far from Minnesota. Donskoy at the top of the diamond, shot attempt by Johansson, a floater staying in bounds. Mendoza to Neumann. Shot attempt off the body of Yip Alroila. Pasiarvin unable to fall on it. He'll pass it to Juuso Lehtiniemi off the substitution. Kim Nyberg now bringing it back from down deep in Fresno territory. He'll switch around on the far wing. Pass to Mendoza, back to Nyberg. Cross court, finds Johansson. He'll sweep around, unable to find a good shot opportunity. 1 minute remaining in power play. Johansson at the point, far side to Nyberg. Mendoza looking across the crease to Kangas. It'll find Neumann instead. Shot by Johansson, saved off the helmet of Pasiarvinen. Great defense so far from the Growlers, but it's not over yet. Neumann to Nyberg. Driving in close, he was looking across to Mendoza. Unable to get the finish. Now Mendoza with the ball. 30 seconds left in power play for Fresno. Neumann to Nyberg, back to Neumann. Far side, Johansson. Unable to take it off the backhand for the shot attempt. He'll send the ball wild. Mile Mothaler now on the counter. Chipped away by Neumann. He's got a chance here. Looking for Nyberg. It's chipped up off the body of Juuso Lehtiniemi. Pasiarvinen holding the ball. They roll it down to Salakangas. 10 seconds left in power play. Järninen shot sailing wide out of bounds. Time's going to be taken to clean the court there, far side in Fresno territory. 5 seconds left on power play as we get ready to inbound here. League Commissioner Ryan Connor able to wipe off the Gur floor there. Certainly doing a thorough job. Team owner of the Fresno Force, Steve Wilburn, also coming out to assist. And after the two-man task, it's going to be a Minnesota Growlers ball. It'll be Donskoy and Lehtinen. Donskoy behind himself off the boards. Ilmari Lehtinen the spin around. Penalty expiring. We're back to 5-on-5. Ball out of bounds. It's going to be a hit in here for the Minnesota Growlers. Once more, again, Donskoy and Lehtinen. Donskoy to Lehtinen. He'll go center. Hiltonen shot saved by Scharnberg. Donskoy's rebound shot attempt just wide, but off a push by Amdahl on Donskoy. It's going to be his ball here for the Growlers in the corner. Off the boards, Lehtinen back to Donskoy. Looking across for Alroila in the crease, but it's chipped off the body of Amdahl. Now a battle for possession on the boards as Ilmari Lehtinen with the spin around, looking for a man to pass to. Will find far side Julius Salakangas with the ball going wild. Now Sjostrom pursuing him in Minnesota territory. Salakangas looking to get stable on his feet. He'll spin around and pause, looking for a man to pass to. Hiltonen going in motion onto the far wing. In the center, he'll find Ilmari Lehtinen. Both teams communicating louder and louder as the pressure increases here, live from the DECC in Duluth. Amdahl, far side to Matson. First line going to return out here for the Fresno Force. Neumann goes to Nyberg. He's got Mendoza around half court. Back to Nyberg. Neumann. Far side. To find Kahlberg to Mendoza. Coming back around. He'll pause and go back to the far wing. Kahlberg to Nyberg. He's got Neumann at the point. No person is on the close wing here. All of Fresno's offense is focused on the far side. Now Castellanos rotating around on the close wing. Wille Kahlberg back to Neumann. Less than 10 minutes remaining in the third period. Fresno still with a 2-goal lead, and they're not looking to give up any momentum just yet. Pasi Arvinen with the ball there off of the missed shot attempt. He'll roll it to Tuukka Korhonen. Down to Mile Marthaler. Korhonen off the boards, finds Björninen in motion, gets the angle around Kahlberg, looking for a man to pass to. Intending for Marthaler, but it's chipped away by Castellanos. Juuso Lehtiniemi in a battle against Neumann on the boards. Both teams there with mixed matched lines. Björninen will pass it off as he calls for his team to make a full substitution. Fresno will do the same. Just under 9.5 minutes remaining. Still 3-5 Growlers Force here. Minnesota certainly not out of this game yet, but with every ticking second, it's going to be just a little bit harder for them to try and work against this high-octane Fresno Force team, currently with the highest record in the league, 6-1. Minnesota currently standing at 5-2. Salakangas facing a double team, gets it to Lehtinen, close side, the spin pass to Hiltonen in center court, back to Lehtinen. A little bit of miscommunication, and now Kangas trying to capitalize, pushing Lehtinen to the boards. Able to get it around, Amdahl finds Hiltonen. Down behind the goal line. Play's going to be stopped here. It's going to be a free hit for the Minnesota Growlers. Julius Salakangas set to take it. Cross court. Donskoy just off the top post. Salakangas trying to break it out. Driving in close. Sent away by Madsen. A little bit of heavy shoulder-to-shoulder contact. But all love between Madsen and Salakangas there. Hilton in close wing. Scharnberg unable to grab it. Salakangas now in a 2-on-1. Able to get the ball to Hiltonen. Close wing. Auroila. Hiltonen, the spin around Amdahl, driving towards the crease. He'll lose it behind himself. Castellanos now has Mendoza on the lead. Unable to get the shot off. Still looking to recover. It's speed on speed there as Björninen defending Mendoza. It'll get out to Wille Kahlberg as Fresno looks to continue the offensive drive. Kahlberg coming in close. Denied by the post there. They're going to call it out on Pasi Arvinen, and it's going to be a hit in for the Force. Wille Kahlberg and Jonas Castellanos set to take it. Castellanos going in motion, but he's on the wrong side of the goal. Mile Marthaler able to get there off the passing miscommunication. Cross-court pass, to Lehtiniemi to Tuukka Korhonen. Driving down behind himself. Able to get the angle around Kahlberg on that pass. Auroila at the point, switching off. Now Juuso Lehtiniemi coming up onto the court. Korhonen behind Lehtiniemi for support. Far side, Juuso Lehtiniemi down the lane. Björninen driving in close. Shot goes off the body of Kim Nyberg and sails out of bounds. It'll be a hit in here for the Minnesota Growlers in the far corner. Björninen off the boards to Lehtiniemi. Cross-court pass finds his brother, Eetu Lehtiniemi. Still maintaining possession despite an aggressive Kahlberg. They'll send the ball around the boards, but he'll draw a foul. It's going to be a free hit here for the Growlers. Lehtiniemi set to take it. Chipped away. Kahlberg to Kangas. The spin back around as Minnesota retreats. Kahlberg passing it off to Neumann. Neumann with a juke move to create some space there with Eetu Lehtiniemi. He'll pass it off behind himself to Adrian Amdahl. The second line is now out on the court here fully for the Fresno Force. Far side, Rasmus Johansson. Across to Amdahl. He's got Shellstrom in center. He'll go back out. Madsen at the point. Back down to Amdahl. Kangas down the line. Cross-court pass. The lights aren't on. Nobody's home. Björninen able to get there. Now at the point, Juuso Lehtiniemi. Mile Marthaler goes across. Björninen facing a push there from Shellstrom. Amdahl to Shellstrom to Johansson. Deflected by Björninen. Madsen still able to recover at the point. Amdahl to Kangas down on the close wing. Johansson shot saved by Pasi Arvinen. A close call. You can see him celebrate there. Both teams getting loud, getting aggressive. They know how important this last 6.5 minutes are going to be as Minnesota gains some momentum. That Auroila ball caught there by Scharnberg. He's pissed off. that Julius Salakangas was able to get to the ball. And the chip, Neumann to Mendoza, driving down. The Zorro is good! I don't believe it. Off the breakaway, Melvin Mendoza able to extend the Force lead to 3. And it was off of great defense. Neumann saw Mendoza leading. The Zorro goes around and overextended Bassi out of it. What a critical goal, timeout call by the Minnesota Growlers after it. If they're going to look to make some adjustments, in the meantime, 6 minutes, 18 seconds remaining in the third period. You're still Minnesota Growlers 3, Fresno 4-6. It's been a close matchup to this point. It almost looked like it would go Minnesota's way after the Billy Nilsson injury, but the rest of Fresno showing that they also have what it takes to come against one of the most star-studded, focused teams in the NAFL, especially with the addition of Jonas Donskoy today, putting himself on the board in his first matchup with that beautiful spinning and diving goal there for the Minnesota Growlers. Marthaler on the close side. You can see Korhonen coming out with a lot of aggression there on the play after time was taken. 6 minutes on the clock for Minnesota to try and complete a comeback attempt, but Fresno making it more difficult at every juncture. Gerinen at the point, Mendoza trailing him. Off the boards, Korhonen ball chipped up by Karlberg to Neumann to Mendoza. Can he do it again? He can! What a shot! Melvin Mendoza with history repeating itself. Mendoza had been pressing up from behind. Off the boards, it was chipped up from Korhonen, and Neumann sent it down with a hope and a prayer. Mendoza took just a few seconds to reset, and he faced virtually no opposition there on that attempt. 5:48 remaining in. Minnesota certainly down, but not out. Kamadi Letzman. No pass. Julius Salakangas back to Letzman. And looking to center to Hilton, and the too much spin on the ball means after Shellstrom able to get there. Get it down to Amdahl. Dangus. Not enough touch. Jonas Donskoy, the pass to Hilton and driving down. Shot deflected off the body of Amdahl. It's going to be a Fresno Force hit in. Ilmari Lettinen not happy about the call. Fresno going to bring out a new line here. Pass goes off the boards to Neumann. Donskoy, heavy pressure, but Neumann able to break around him. Ball down deep to Mendoza again. Julius Salakangas taking extra care to box out Mendoza from the crease on that one. But Mendoza with it again on the wing. A spin and shoot saved by Järvinen. Melvin Mendoza has been relentless in this third period, putting Pasi Järvinen through the spin cycle. Pass in the center. Nyberg able to get there first before Bjerninen. Bjerninen chipping it down the boards. In the center lane. He'll pass to Eteletnimi. A beautiful save by Scharnberg. Wille Karlberg behind the goal. He'll pass to Neumann. Back down to Karlberg. Chipped away there by Juuso Letniemi. What we've seen play out in this match is as we've come to the second and third period, Fresno has just done a great job of creating so many more offensive looks and more importantly taking even the mediocre looks that they get and trying to convert. 30 shots on goal for the Fresno Force against Pasi Järvinen compared to only 14 for the Minnesota Growlers. Of course, Fresno is a team whose offense is described by speed, such as off the Melvin Mendoza counterattack, a hat trick in the third period alone. Another Fresno Force goal there by Melvin Mendoza on the counterattack. That play took less than 10 seconds to develop in its entirety. Nyberg sent the ball down deep to Mendoza. After he bumbled and fumbled with it a little bit, he brought it to the ground and around Pasi Järvinen. Melvin Mendoza carrying his team on his back. Timeout called here. 4:12 remaining in the third period. Your score, Minnesota Growlers 3, Fresno Force 8, in what has become a runaway in the third. Fresno's offense dominates with speed. They are great in transition play on the counterattack. And that used to be thanks to Melvin Mendoza and Billy Nilsson, the forwards on the first line, but now Mendoza has taken it upon himself to do the same. Inversely, the Minnesota Growlers, a team who thrive with their passing system. As we've seen in most matchups this season, especially the ones where they're the most dangerous, it's the cross-court pass over the middle, around the mid-range in opponent territory that they love to use and shoot from the wing or send someone like Tuukka Hiltunen or Ilmari Lehtinen close to the goal. They haven't been able to get that cross-court passing going against this Fresno defense that has been locked down all day when it comes to spying passing lanes. As a result, they haven't taken as many offensive opportunities. They haven't tried as many shots. You can see that with less than half the shots on goal Fresno has. And of course, Fresno has not hesitated anytime they've had the ball. With counterattack after counterattack, they've come to a 5-goal lead here over the Minnesota Growlers. As we head down for the faceoff, it's going to be Matson here up against Salakangas. Recovery by Minnesota. Emily Bierinen will pass behind himself to Julius Salakangas. Järvinen off the court. Marthaler on. 6-on-5 play here as the Minnesota Growlers run an empty net. Ilmari Lehtinen close side. Cross-court pass. Finds Bierinen. Johansson with some aggression in the stick work. Forcing Bierinen to stumble, but it's going to draw a foul. Free hit for the Minnesota Growlers. At the top, Salakangas to Lehtinen. A little bit of sweeping there by Kangas on defense. In the center, Donskoy. Shot goes off the body of his own man, Mile Marthaler. Lehtinen. To Eetu Lehtinimi. Back to Lehtinen. Lehtinimi trying a sneaky pass. Goes off the chest of Scharnberg. Shellstrom chipping the ball up in the air. It's an empty net. Look! Johansson sends it in off the empty net. No time for Pasi Järvinen to get back on the court. Fresno only extending their lead further. Of course, that's the risk in any empty net strategy. It was that pass attempt by Lehtinimi, gave the ball to Scharnberg, who was able to send it down. Shellstrom and Johansson were the first on the breakaway. And Rasmus Johansson able to put another away for the Fresno Force in this runaway third period by the #1 seed in the NAFL playoff race. Your score, just over 3 minutes left. It's Growlers 3, Force 9. Tuukka Korhonen close side. Back to Marcus Lane. Mendoza creeping up, as he loves to do, but he's still able to find Eetu Vanjonpa. Back down, Tuukka Korhonen. Vanjonpa to Lane. Down Rantala, sending it around the boards to Tom Fuchner. Chipped out of bounds by Wille Karlberg. Minnesota Growlers hit in. Fuchner to Rantala, behind himself. Back to Fuchner. Off the boards, finds Korhonen. Shot attempt off the body of Scharnberg. Chipped out by Nyberg to Karlberg. Sent away by Tom Fuchner, and now Valtteri Rantala with possession again in Fresno territory. Fuchner needing a man to pass to. He'll be pushed away by Wille Karlberg. And also between the legs stick work, it's going to be a hit for the Minnesota Growlers. Tom Fuchner set to take it. Pass, Lane to Valtteri Rantala. Behind himself, Marcus Lane. Fuchner able to get there before Nyberg. Driving in close to the crease. Shot attempt off the body of Wille Karlberg. Neumann now for Fresno. Driving down off the boards. Mendoza, shot saved by Pasi Järvinen. Back down, Fuchner. Across to Valtteri Rantala. His shot wide right off the backboards. He's able to get there before Samuel Linda can react. 2 minutes left on the clock. Eetu Vanjonpa, far side. Back to Marcus Lane. Down to Tuukka Korhonen. Unable to get the angle before the goal. Around Karlberg. He'll have to pass instead far side. Eetu Vanjonpa behind himself. Chipped away by David Kangas. David Kangas sends the ball behind himself. Nobody there for support. Tom Fuchter sending it down deep as Yepa Arroyo coming out with the second line here for the Minnesota Growlers in the last minute and a half of the match. Mothaler to Arroyo. Juuso Lehtiniemi, Emily Bjerninen back to Juuso Lehtiniemi at the point, down to Arroyo. Off the boards, finds Mothaler, but shipped away there by Amdahl. It'll draw a foul, free hit for the Growlers. They're taking it quickly. Bjerninen driving down, coming around from behind the goal. He needs a man to pass to. Shipped away by David Kangas out of bounds. It's going to be a Minnesota Growlers hit in as they look to pick up the pace here as we enter the last minute of the match. Lehtiniemi with Bjerninen. Juuso Lehtiniemi at the point. Shipped away there. Mile Mothaler to Juuso Lehtiniemi. Down off the boards. Nearly hitting referee Yanni Shilren. It finds Yepa Arroyo. Deflected by Pontus Shellstrom. 45 seconds on the clock. Bjerninen driving in from the wing. Now behind the goal line. He'll pass. Lehtiniemi at the point to his brother. Etu Lehtiniemi saved by Schoenberg. Mothaler to Lehtiniemi. Cross court. Bjerninen and Juuso Lehtiniemi. Back to Bjerninen. 30 seconds on the clock. The steal by David Kangas. Kangas shot saved by Pasi Arvinen. Fresno still with possession here in Minnesota territory. Not if Mile Mothaler has anything to say about it. He comes away with the steal and driving down now into Fresno territory. Unable to get the shot attempt off. Schoenberg falling on it. Less than 15 seconds left on the clock in the third. Schoenberg holding on to it for a good while. Matson will hold it as time expires. And at the end of an electric matchup between the Minnesota Growlers and the Fresno Force with major playoff implications, your final score, Minnesota Growlers 3, Fresno Force 9, and what became a runaway lead despite the Billy Nilsson injury earlier this match. Fresno now extends their lead as the first seed currently in the playoff rankings. Minnesota still well within range of a playoff spot, but not clinched just yet after a loss today. Floorball fans, don't worry. We have one more matchup of electric NAFL action live from Duluth, Minnesota. We hope you'll join us at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time as the Texas 39ers take on the Seattle Sockeyes. Until then, I've been your host, Tanner David.